This was an awful April Fool's joke, Mother Nature. Inches and inches of snow, wind, and temperatures of -6. Completely, entirely not funny. Right, goats? Not funny. Not funny, is it? This is ridiculous. You'd never guess that it was springtime in Montana. This is so silly. Get a goat, Delci said. It'll be fun, she said. I really did say get a goat. You can watch that video on my channel after this one if you're still not convinced. And it really will be fun, I promise. So yes, get a goat. Sounds easy, right? It is, kind of. Now, the first thing you need to get is a goat. No, actually, let me rephrase that. You need 2 goats. Goats are a herd animal. If you get 1 goat, you automatically get 2. And then they multiply, and it becomes goat math, which is almost as confusing as Common Core math, but that's to your advantage because that just means you get more goats and no one can explain it. A goat can cost anywhere between $75 and $300 or more. It really depends on what breed you get, how well bred the goats are, where you're located, and even if the animals are registered or not. Usually the wethers are sold for less, and the little doelings can be sold for even up to $200 or more. And to be quite frank, that is more than fair considering the time, the effort, the love, the feed, and supplies the owner of the goats has put into their herd. There are usually many years of devoted time and effort that goes into breeding goats, and selling the kids are one of the ways that a goat owner can actually help pay for all of that, all of the time that it took to make their herd a good goat herd. Now, that's not to give the impression that a couple of goats will cost you a fortune, but just a reminder to not grumble about the price of goats. You can find goats or save goats by going through a sale barn, but you really do need to be careful doing this. There are 2 reasons that goats end up at the sale barn. One is that someone who raises goats has an influx of kids in the spring and then can get a better price at the sale barn than they actually can justify selling the wethers just for pets. The harsh reality is that a pet wether usually goes for about $75 from someone like me, but a good sale at the sale barn can get a whole lot more than that. And understandably so. People need to make money if they're going to be raising goats. Another reason you will find a goat at the sale barn is that they have an issue. Now, this issue could be a lot of things: lice, unthriftiness, worms, sickness, or any kind of disease. And when you bring that goat home, there is the potential to infect your goat herd if you have one, or just bringing home a disease onto your property that is actually really hard to get rid of. But truly, if you are wise in your buying choices, whether at the sale barn or from a reputable seller in your area, you can find goats that will be a great addition to your life. I also mention this in every goat video I do because I believe without a shadow of a doubt that every goat owner needs one of these on hand. This information is indispensable and has been so helpful for so many goat owners. In fact, this is what Russell said about it. I never talk like this, but this is it. This information provided in this package deal can be found all over the internet. I know because I have been searching, but I have never seen this much information in one place, in one printable binder, with everything at your fingertips. Print the binder at once and the info sheets with your goats as many times as you need. This information has already changed how I have been handling my goats with food, water, cleaning, everything. So get this, it's so important. After you have figured out where you'll get your goats and how much you're willing to spend, and you have your goat binder on its way to your mailbox, then you need to be able to feed them. please watch this video on my channel about what a goat eats. I'll mention briefly though that goats need grass or hay as their primary source of nutrition. If they don't have sufficient pasture throughout the year, then your goats will need you to provide them hay. And hay can become a big part of the cost of goats. But you don't have to worry. I will help you figure out how much hay you will need for your goats. All you have to do is find the link below that will take you to a goat hay cost calculator on my site. All right, when you go onto my site to hay cost calculator for goats on my post here, this is the page you will land on. And as you read through all of this information, it will give you a lot of excellent information that will be really helpful, lots of videos and just really helpful things that you can definitely read through and check out. And so as you scroll down, right down here, you are going to find the calculators. Now, here's this one here, non-milking goats and milking goats. So if you have, like we were just planning out, let's say that you're going to bring home 2 Nigerian dwarf goats, and on average they weigh about 75 pounds each, and so you will want to weigh your goats, and that there is information on my site or on my YouTube channel on how to do that. So definitely want to weigh them, but for the sake of this, let's say they weigh the average of 75 pounds each, so that would be 150 pounds between the two of them. You'll be feeding them about 6 pounds of hay per day, which equals about 1 ton of hay needed per year. And so that will give you an idea of what that looks like. Now, if you were to breed your goats and they were to be in milk, you can move down to this one here. Let's say those 2 same goats were in milk, they were pregnant and in milk. This you'd put in that same, I mean, obviously you want to know how much they weigh, so put that in. And for that same information, you'll need to give them about a little over 1.5 ton of hay. So you do feed more when they are in milk, and so definitely keep that in mind as you're working through that. But these calculators will be an awesome resource that you can use to plan out how much hay you will need in a year for your goats. So now you've got a plan for getting your goats. You've got hay planned out. Now you need a water trough, mineral holder, and a shelter of some sort. A 15-gallon water trough on Amazon can run about $35, but you can check your local farm and ranch store, and you can make a decision from there of what works best for you as far as cost. And you can also make these mineral holders like the ones that I have here for a pretty low cost. I'll link below how you can make one of these really nifty feeders. Then you'll need to fill the mineral feeder. In our area right now, I just paid about $32 for a bag of goat minerals. You can watch about goat mineral on my channel as well. Please watch that. It is one of the most important videos and pieces of information to understand about goats. And then a bag of sodium bicarbonate can be bought at the feed store as well. So baking soda is really good for goats that are living in confinement like this. If they get a tummy ache, they will self-medicate, and this just helps them to regulate their rumen on their own. Honestly, I can't remember how much a bag cost. It lasts a long time though, but it's really not too much money. It won't cost you much. And these shelters are awesome. They're low cost and they're easy to build. They are a great way to start if you don't have a large barn like this. Again, I'll link several options of how to build some pallet shelters below. They are a great option in areas that are really cold like we have here, and also even in warmer temperatures. They'll get them out of the sun. Oh, you're okay. You can stay here and be in the video. Yes, you can. You can stay here and be in the video if I mess. Oh, my mom's calling. Hello? What is happening?
Anybody there that might want to help make Grandpa some cookies?
Ooh, I bet I do. I'll send the goat straight down.
Oh, okay. Alright, that would be great. I'm sure they would be quite helpful.
They would be, they would.
So I wondered why my little friends didn't talk.
It was too cold for them. I don't think they've gotten dressed yet.
Well, that's a good way to be, I think.
This is silly. Now, these things that I've just mentioned are the most vital. Goats who are not in milk, pregnant, or who aren't in rut don't really need any grain. In fact, I believe that feeding your goats a high diet of grain will really cause a lot of problems. You can save yourself that expense until you get to the point of raising more goats, and the cost of grain can vary. I feed my goats barley while I'm milking, and a bag of barley around here can cost about $11 a bag, but I can save money when I buy whole barley in bulk, so keep that in mind. There are other supplies that you will need to get and stock up on as well. You can watch that video right here after this one. It's called something like emergency supplies for goats, and these items will be really handy to have on hand in the just-in-case emergencies that can come up. If you have never raised goats, then you must know that goats are rather fragile. They can and do get sick, just like we do. Without proper feeding and nutrition, your goat will get sick. And if you don't keep an eye on them, on their worm load, and for signs of anemia, it can and will end badly. So just be aware of that you will need to keep an eye on your goats at all times. Pay attention to them and note any changes in their appearance. You will need to be watching their hair, their hair coat, their eyes, their weight, and if any of those change, act quickly. This isn't meant to be a lesson in goat care, but I see so many times that people bring home their beloved pets and then are shocked when they get sick. Don't let that be you. Watch all of the videos on my channel to learn about how to care for your goat's health. When you look at the list of items that you need for your goats, it may seem overwhelming, but what I would suggest doing is budgeting a certain amount each month to stocking up on what you will need. Maybe it would be like $25 a month, or maybe even $50 a month, until you have all of the items that you actually need. So to recap, for 2 little Nigerian dwarf goats, you'll need a little over 1 ton of hay a year for them. In our area right now, we have a glutton of hay from last year, so the prices are a lot lower than they are sometimes. So hay prices for a ton of hay can be between $80 and $150 a ton. We can talk an average of that, maybe about $125, and add that to the other necessary items to get started, and you have between $300 and $400 to get started, and then the price of the goats that you'll be buying. And then at least $25 a month to invest in getting the emergency supplies. What do you think? Is a goat worth the cost? I'd say definitely worth it, and they would too. They have the potential to give you so many smiles and happiness during times when you are stuck at home with nothing to do for long periods of time. And they also can provide food for your family, milk, cheese, yogurt, and even the potential meat. So what do you think? Are you ready for your first goat? Wait, are you ready for your first goats? I hope so. I hope this information and this video was helpful and insightful. My name is Delci from A Life of Heritage. Thank you for spending this time with me and my goats. I hope the goats are in your future, and go out and get a goat, and I'll see you in that next video.